Demokratia.
Democracy. D-E-M-O-C-R-A-C-Y.
Good. Equality.
Equality. E-Q-U-I.
No, A. E-Q-U-A.
Mom, why do I have to learn this stuff? It's boring.
Is not boring.
It is to me.
These are important words, Yuri. Do you know what equality is?
Yeah, I know. Everybody's supposed to be the same.
Why are you talking like this?
Come on, Mom. Do you really believe that?
Yes, I do. This is great country. Growing up in Russia, I was like prisoner. That's why I come here, so you have better life. Don't eat cookies. Try again. Equality.
Fine. E-Q... Mom?
Sound it out. Yuri! Yurichka! No!
There's two trains I can travel. Two trains leaving today. One gonna take me home. One gonna carry me away. Gonna carry me away.
Got decent tires, new brakes, rebuilt tranny. Alex, this thing runs like a charm. Scout's honor.
I don't want a car.
I'll throw in the ski rack.
I don't ski.
Well, maybe you should. You'd look good in one of those tight little,
Why are you selling it?
Here, you want to not mar the paint. Consider this a lifestyle upgrade. This was fine for law school, but Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan demand something better.
No, you're not going to be one of those jerks drag racing his BMW between stoplights, are you?
No. I'm buying a Porsche.
Thanks anyway. I don't need a car.
Alex, everybody needs a car.
I haven't driven in 5 years. Bus, it's just fine.
Bus might be fine for the city. What about those long weekend romantic getaways?
See, I'm on parole, Heller. I'm not allowed to get away.
So here's the thing. You take this car, you drive it for a couple days, then you tell me what you think.
Aren't you scared that I'll wreck it?
Come on, Alex. Driving a car is like riding a bike or some other things I could think of.
Excuse me, Mr. Monaco. There's someone here to see you.
You're gonna love it.
Hi, I'm looking for Mr. Morgan.
That's my appointment, like 2:30.
Hi, I'm Alex DeMonaco.
I'm Zinia Rushkov. I cook for Mrs. Stern. Oh, she say you help her when Mr. Stern was killed. She tell me Alex is tough. She don't take any of the bull.
Okay, I got it. Where can we step into my office?
Please, if you could for me, that'd be great.
Yuri has asthma since he was small. He couldn't play like other boys. I took him to clinic 3 years ago, and Dr. Tolkien makes him better.
With the medicine he prescribed?
Yes.
Why did he change it?
He said I need to test new medicine.
Yuri was the subject of a clinical trial. He was taking an experimental drug.
Yes, but Dr. Tolkien say it was safe. He say it is the same as old drug. I believed him.
Did you sign a release form or anything?
I didn't help Yuri. All his medicine is free. Doctor sees him more. They say this is good for Yuri.
Oh, Peggy, we're in the middle of a client conference.
Be quiet.
Thank you.
You're not a lawyer.
How long was Yuri taking the new drug before he went into a coma?
A few days, but I see changes right away.
What do you mean?
Yuri is good boy, always polite. This new medicine makes him fights with me and talk back.
And the old drug never did that?
No, they gives him something bad. Please, Miss Alex, makes them tell the truth.
I will. Her son has been in a coma for 2 weeks, and they have no idea what caused it. Shh. Poor woman. She's a single mother, she's got no money, and she's all alone. We've got to help her. Every other lawyer has turned her down.
And I can see why. This informed consent agreement she signed is bulletproof.
Well, I'm sure you could find a loophole if you really wanted to.
On what grounds?
Well, it's just...
The pertinent fact, Mr. Monaco, is that she was fully informed of the risks involved in the medical trials. As she allowed her son to participate anyway, as long as the testing company...
They experimented on her son.
That's what Mrs. Riskoff agreed to. As long as Heyerdahl Labs is fulfilling its obligations to pay for his care, there are no grounds for action.
They put him in a coma?
Ken Tolkien is a dedicated and highly respected doctor. He virtually built the Hope Street Clinic by himself.
Meaning what? That Dr. Tolkien never makes mistakes?
Meaning you don't sue Mother Teresa. Did it ever occur to you that this woman might just be after the money?
She's his mother.
Contain your emotions, Mr. Monaco. They can be useful, but they cloud your judgment.
Mr. Monaco, I'm Paul Atkins. I'm Yuri's doctor. I understand you have some questions.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
Excuse me, are you a member of the family?
I work for Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan. Yuri's mother came to us for help.
She's suing?
No. We're just trying to find out what happened to Yuri.
Well, I wish I could tell you. Frankly, it's got us baffled. And the longer he stays in a coma, the less his chance of recovery.
Well, what about the new drug he was taking in the clinical trial?
Chlorvax? No, that was the first thing we looked at. There's nothing in it that could have triggered this episode. It was nearly identical to the medication he'd been on.
Maybe he took something else.
No, we screened for coke, speed, ecstasy, nothing.
His mother said that he became very irritable when he started on the Chlorvax.
If his mother is so interested in helping, you should tell her to come by and see him. She hasn't been here since they brought him in.
Hope Street. Hope Street Community Clinic.
Naturally, I was shocked when I heard about Yuri. It's the last thing I expected.
So you're sure the coma wasn't caused by the drug he was testing?
Positive. Chlorvax is just a knockoff of the medicine he's been taking. Biggest difference is probably the color. Hey! It's for me? Oh, it's beautiful. I'm gonna hang this right next to my desk. You're looking a lot better.
Then why is the drug company making it?
Oh, greed. They see a competitor's product selling well, so they whip up a Me Too version and get in the action.
Capitalism at work.
I went through Yuri's medical records with the doctors treating him, and except for the asthma and the minor allergies, he's a perfectly normal 12-year-old.
Do you do many clinical trials here?
No. They generate a lot of paperwork, and we already got plenty of that.
Why'd you agree to do this one?
Make the medicine free for my patients. There's nothing worse than seeing someone suffer when a drug's available and they just can't afford it.
Could I have a sample of Chlorvax?
What for?
I'd like to have it analyzed.
Hexler Dalton suspended the trial when I notified them about Yuri. The research rep collected everything.
Oh, what's his name?
Lee Grogan.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Dr. Tolkien.
Pleasure. Ms. DeMonico, the sad truth is there's no telling what Yuri might have gotten into. In this neighborhood, there are drug dealers on every corner.
Sounds like the pushers aren't just on the street.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Monaco. I didn't know you were coming.
I'm just trying to learn more about Chlorvax.
How can I help you?
I'd like to get a sample.
I'm afraid that's not possible. Chlorvax is an experimental drug, you understand.
Oh, I'm getting the idea.
Everything you need to know is in here.
Helps you to breathe again.
Chlorvax was in phase 3 of clinical trials. Its performance exceeded our expectations. We anticipated FDA approval within the year.
Until Yuri Ruskov went into a coma.
We don't attribute that to Chlorvax.
But you suspended your clinical trials and recalled the medicine.
It's standard procedure in these circumstances.
That standard procedure looks a lot like hiding evidence.
Our obligations to the research subject are spelled out clearly in the consent form his mother signed. We're fulfilling those obligations.
That research subject was a happy, active 12-year-old boy.
I've told you what I can, Mr. Monaco.
Well, thanks for your pretty brochure.
I need some deposition.
Hey, there he is. How's life treating you, Whit?
Just fine, David, and yourself?
Okay, can't complain. How's things at work?
I'm flattered by your sudden interest. Busier than ever.
Really? Because I've never known Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan to chase ambulances before. I heard DeMonico's got you suing the Hope Street Clinic.
We're just looking into the matter.
Well, that's how it starts, doesn't it? Tragedy strikes, lawyers cash in.
It's not the way I do business.
Well, you never had a convicted felon working for you before.
You know, David, the more I get to know you, the more I wonder how many other innocent people you sent to prison.
Poe? As in Edgar Allan Poe? How long has he been using that name? 6 months. What about my daughter? Is she in school someplace? I know. Patient. Okay. Thanks, Castlebone. Bye. So, I checked the internet. Did you know that over 80,000 clinical trials were conducted in the U.S. last year? And over a quarter of them had no federal oversight at all. Do you know how many Heyerdahl conducted?
No, I don't, Miss DeMonico. But since I'm already up, can I get you anything?
No, thanks. The Heyerdahl rep wouldn't give me a sample of Chlorvax, but he did give me this.
Call me old-fashioned, but I like to find grounds for legal action before I call something a case. Have you found such grounds?
He wouldn't look me in the eye.
Well then, unless lack of eye contact is mentioned in some statute that I'm unfamiliar with, I suggest you drop it.
A healthy kid does not go into a coma without a reason. Maybe Heyerdahl lied about the risks. I mean, Warner Lambert is being accused of lying about Breslin. According to the papers, it caused liver damage, which was never reported.
And it's still being argued in the courts and could be for another 10 years.
Man, I guess that's too long till payday for Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan.
I am not going to drag the Hope Street Clinic through a witch hunt. Heyerdahl has the resources to survive this sort of thing. The clinic does not. These kinds of allegations could shut them down for good. Is that something that you want on your conscience if you just happen to be wrong?
If you think of anything else they took, give us a call.
Well, that's it? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am?
We took her report. She can't describe them. What else you want?
What about dusting for prints or questioning the neighbors?
Lady, there's a couple junkies pulling a smash and grab for a fix. It happens here all the time.
Maybe you'd like to tell that to the Civilian Review Board.
Okay. Talk to the neighbors.
This isn't so bad. In Russia, the police steal more than the thieves.
Come on, let's clean this place up.
Please, Miss Alex, this isn't your job.
It's not going to take long. Come on.
Thank you for helping, Yuri. I'm lucky you come here tonight.
Oh, is this your mother?
Yes. She always dreamed of coming to America.
Well, maybe she can someday.
No, she cannot.
So, how's Yuri doing?
I don't know. I've been too busy. I'm working 2 jobs to pay for the hospital.
Is this your OxyContin?
I take them when my back hurts.
Why would a couple of junkies break in and not take the good stuff?
Maybe they don't see them.
Maybe they're not junkies. Senia, think again. Are you sure that there is nothing missing from your medicine cabinet?
Yuri's pills.
Do you have any samples?
No. What are you doing?
When I was a kid, I didn't like taking medicine. Sometimes I would fake it, spit it out, and then hide it. Is this what he was taking?
Lamborghini, Ferrari, this and that. They don't understand the refinement of a Porsche. This is a fine, fine automobile. Hey, how's she doing?
Okay, she's a little shaky.
That's normal. You gotta expect a little shimmy in the front end at that age. Oh, come on, that Mustang is a great car.
Oh, shoot. My expungement hearing has been moved up to this afternoon.
So why are you trying to get your record cleared when Whitney's going for a pardon from the governor?
Because that could take years. Judge Perlmutter can do it today.
Perlmutter? Perlmutter's so senile he can't remember his own name.
Well, I hope so. His only regret was that the maximum sentence he could impose was too short.
I'd be happy to go with you. Moral support and all, and, you know, maybe a little celebratory glass of wine after.
That is pathetic, Heller.
I apologize for being so cloak and dagger, Mr. Whitney, but if you were seen meeting with the executive vice president and the corporate counsel for Royce Atlantic in the usual places, it could start rumors. I hear your friends call you Whit.
Yes, they do, Mr. Oliver.
Well, I'll get right to the point. Royce Atlantic is seeking new outside legal counsel. Our growth has been so explosive, current team's sucking dust. I've had my eye in your shop for a while.
Well, I'm very gratified by your interest. Is there any particular area of concern?
Expanding our international profile, foreign joint ventures, particularly in the Pacific Rim.
Well, international has become one of our strongest departments. I'm sure you know Eugene Rosen. He virtually wrote the book on foreign tax codes. We managed to lure him away from Stanford.
Yes, I know. But some of my colleagues are concerned your firm is primarily a civil litigation firm and lacks the range we need.
Well, there's no question that civil litigation was our specialty, but we've expanded the firm dramatically by bringing in experts in many other areas.
Sounds like an all-star team. If you're interested, I'll send over some documents for your analysis. And I'd like to make a decision soon.
I'll be sure to give him my full attention. Is there anyone else that I should expect to meet?
Well, that won't be necessary. Consider me the face of Royce Atlantic.
We need to be clear about this. She's absolutely sure this is what Yuri was taking.
Positive. What's wrong?
There's no control number on it. All the drugs I've seen used in clinical trials are coded.
How fast can you get analyzed?
Stat. I'm afraid Yuri's losing ground.
Hey, Yuri. It's a really nice day outside. Real soon, you're gonna be out there playing ball. I saw your trophy. Most improved player. You know, I know you got in you to beat this. And your mom
She's praying for you. She's got a lot going on right now, but she's thinking about you every minute. You just gotta be strong, sweetie.
Over 82 billion in gross revenues, 23 subsidiaries operating in 17 countries and more than 120,000 employees.
And all he bought you for lunch is a lousy hot dog?
Actually, we went Dutch.
What does Royce Atlantic do exactly?
Well, what don't they do? They're sending over materials for my analysis right now. Patrick, if we handle this correctly, we'll be able to afford an entire ballpark full of hot dogs.
Something really weird is going on at Heyerdahl Dalton.
Didn't we decide that you were dropping that for lack of grounds?
Yeah, well, I went to tell...
Obviously, you didn't.
Excuse me. She was being robbed. And guess what they stole? The drug that Yuri was taking.
Oh, wow. You know, I think that's what crackheads do. They steal drugs.
Well, I don't think they were crackheads. I think they were professionals who broke in just to get that medicine.
The famous prison gut speaks.
Xenia's son is in a coma fighting for his life. Do you think that this is some kind of a joke?
No, I don't. Well, why'd you take the risk of putting your kid in the drug trials in the first place?
It's just impossible for a guy buying a Porsche to understand that some people cannot afford to buy medicine.
Just because I'm buying a Porsche doesn't make me a jerk.
What about the designer suits? Does that qualify?
I have worked very hard to get where I am.
So have I, and I'm gonna find out what Heyerdahl Dalton is hiding with or without you guys.
Good. Good, I hope you do. It's gonna bring in big bucks.
Oh, what a humanitarian spirit you have.
Get real, Alex. A law firm is a business. You can't just bring in every stray cat because you're emotionally involved.
I should just be like everybody else around here and get really worked up about my golf handicap.
I don't play golf.
And I'm not emotionally involved.
Fine.
Fine.
This over here, and I got you because I can't do this.
All right. The San Francisco County Superior Court, the Honorable Judge Lionel Perlmutter presiding, is now in session. Be seated.
Horace, where's my cushion?
Harold, Your Honor.
What?
I'm Harold, Your Honor, and you're sitting on it.
Oh.
Shall I call the first case?
Call the first case.
People versus DeMonico. Case number B956031. Notice to reduce and expunge criminal felony conviction of insurance fraud. Plaintiff appearing pro se. Alexandra DeMonico, step up to the counsel table.
DeMonico. You. I remember you.
They need your signature on the receipt. And the confidentiality agreement.
What's your target for responding to this?
Sooner than expected.
Would you like me to take domestic or international operations?
It wasn't Clorvax. Yuri's doctor just called with the analysis of the pill.
What was it?
They don't know, but it's got a completely different chemical composition.
Then how do they know it came from Heyerdahl Dalton?
The analysis also revealed a substance used to coat the pill. That coating used exclusively by Heyerdahl Dalton.
And Miss DeMonico, those are grounds. Would you help her draw up a personal injury complaint against them?
Yeah. And we can also file a discovery request for any information they have on any drugs matching the chemical profile of the pill.
And inform the court this is an emergency motion. The child's life is in jeopardy.
We should open with Yuri's mom testifying that the pill was identical to the drug supplied for the trial.
And then put the lab technician who analyzed on the stand.
Mr. Oliver, what are you doing here?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you, Whit. You can't take action against Heyerdahl Dalton. We own them.
They're part of Royce Atlantic?
Since we consulted on legal matters, that puts you in a serious conflict of interest. You have to drop this lawsuit.
I don't understand. How could this happen?
I'll tell you how this happened. I was set up. Peggy, my office. As soon as Royce Atlantic sniffed we were on this case, Warren Oliver became my new best friend.
What if Xenia gets another lawyer? Could we turn over the evidence that we've got to them?
If it's ruled a conflict of interest, we're barred from doing anything that could be construed as adverse to the interests of Heyerdahl Dalton.
But they hadn't even hired us yet.
Alex has a point. Have we crossed the threshold to be in conflict?
You're going to find out. In fact, you're about to become an expert. Leave the Ruskov file here. Peggy, I want those Royce Atlantic files sent back immediately.
Yes, sir.
And then dig up everything you can find about Hexler Dalton. I want to know their history with clinical trials. I want to know if they've had any problems. I want to know if anybody's suing them, the whole 9 yards.
We should check out their relationship with Hope Street Clinic, unless you think that's out of bounds.
Nothing's out of bounds anymore. If Royce Atlantic thinks I'm going to take this lying down, they are seriously mistaken. Mr. Monaco, talk to our client. Bring her up to speed.
Our client. I like that.
Does this mean you can't help me?
No, it means they made a big mistake trying to mess with Mr. Whitney.
How can a company do this to a child? How can they lie and get away with it? This is America. I thought things were different here.
They are, and the law will protect you and Yuri. You will get justice.
The rich get justice, not people like us.
You can't give up. You have to be strong. For Yuri, he needs you. And you have to go and see him.
I can't.
Tell me the truth. Are you in this only for the money?
Alex, how can you say that?
Because you haven't been to see him. How can a mother not go and see her sick child?
My mother, she was sick. All day, all night, I was with her. That horrible place. No one gets better, they only die. To see Yuri lying there, all those wires. I'm so afraid I've already lost him.
I have a little girl, Mia. I haven't seen her in 5 years. But I talk to her every day. Not really talk to her, but in my head. I'll be riding on a bus or I'll be lying in bed and I'll send her my love. And I know that wherever she is, she can feel it. And Yuri will feel your love too.
What about Brooklyn Navy Yard versus the Superior Court of Orange County, 1977? The duty of loyalty to a corporate client does not bar attorney from representing adverse interests of parent company.
No, in that matter, the attorney was working for both the parent company and its subsidiary corporation. The subsidiary was suing the parent. We're looking for a case that involves an outside plaintiff.
What if we can show that Royce and Hexler Dalton are not the same entity?
I don't follow you.
We were approached by Royce, not Hexler Dalton. If we can show that Hexler is legally a separate entity, there's no conflict.
I think the pepperoni is clouding your thinking. Royce owns Hexler.
Yeah? Think about how they set it up. They structured it as a foreign company to avoid paying U.S. taxes.
And they can't have it both ways.
No, they can't.
Help me. Where's the pain, honey? I think it's my panic. It really hurt.
Stay there, doctor. Be right with you. Dr. Tolkien. Dr. Tolkien.
Get the budget figures for the meeting.
Dr. Tolkien. There's a woman in for with severe abdominal pain.
Trade you.
We contend, Your Honor, that Hexler Dalton is a separate and distinct corporate entity from Royce Atlantic.
It's ridiculous, Your Honor. Hexler Dalton is a wholly owned subsidiary of...
It's incorporated in Bermuda with its own board of directors.
2 of those directors serve on the board of Royce Atlantic. The board's interlocked to preserve unity of corporate interest.
With all due respect, 2 out of 11 can't preserve unity of anything.
Mr. Whitney is using this as a smokescreen, Your Honor. The only pertinent issue here is...
I'll decide what issues are pertinent, Mr. Oliver.
Of course. My point is, the rules of professional conduct make it abundantly clear every attorney has a duty to protect confidential client information. I refer you to Autumnal Water Company versus Bailey. We gave Mr. Whitney sensitive corporate documents that could adversely affect our interests in the other matter before the court.
I never reviewed that material, Your Honor, and the documents were returned as soon as we understood the situation.
Are you certain that no one from your firm looked through those materials, Mr. Whitney?
I have every reason to believe that's the case.
Which means no.
It's clear what they're trying to do, Your Honor. Royce Atlantic never intended to retain us as counsel. This is just a ploy to prevent us from representing Mrs. Ruskoff.
Do you have evidence to support that?
Just 25 years of legal practice.
I'm going to have to sleep on this one.
Don't ask. I've been doing some research on the drug industry. Did you know it takes over $500 million to develop a new drug, and between 10 and 15 years?
Oh, numbers like that. What's one kid? Anything on Hexler Dalton?
In the past year, they've suspended 4 other clinical trials early. And guess what?
One of them involved the Hope Street Clinic.
Yeah. How'd you know? Where'd you get this? Wait. Just don't tell me.
This could destroy the clinic. You don't understand.
I think I do. Hexler Dalton has contributed thousands to this place. And then they asked you to conduct clinical trials on their new drugs. The first time there was a problem, it just seemed routine. And it happened to Yuri. You got suspicious.
When I finished my residency, I had the choice of all the best hospitals. But I chose to start a clinic because it would make a difference. And what good is it going to do to drag it through the mud?
I think you're a good man who just wants to help the people in this neighborhood. Dr. Tolkien, the truth will come out. The only question is, which side will you be on?
I have a strong aversion to coincidence, Mr. Oliver. You expect this court to believe that you just happened to consult with Mr. Whitney's firm at the same time a client of his was considering legal action against your subsidiary?
I assure you, Your Honor.
Frankly, sir, it doesn't pass the smell test. However, I also have a strong aversion to undermining the rules of conduct. The protection of confidential client information is a cornerstone of those principles. There's no way this court can determine if confidential information did change hands. Such doubt leaves me no choice but to assume it did.
As I stated previously, Your Honor.
Save it, Mr. Whitney. It is a ruling of this court, therefore, a material conflict of interest does exist. The firm of Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan is disqualified from representing the plaintiff in the action before this court.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard. He admits Oliver cheated, then he lets him get away with it.
This is not the place to discuss it.
What are we gonna do?
Comply.
You going along with this?
Come on, Alex, you were in there. You heard the man.
I can't believe you guys.
There are some lawyers with no code of ethics. I am not one of them. I don't like what happened in here today, but I'm not about to violate a court order.
Meeting with the Executive Vice President, Corporate Counsel for Royce Atlantic. Let's just stick back.
Yuri Rushkov. That's the name of your research subject. You know the little boy that you put into a coma? That's not in your brochure, is it?
When we got the analysis back on the pill he took, we were able to start a new course of treatment.
Is it working?
Still a little too early to tell. Excuse me.
Yuri, your mother's here. Come and hold his hand.
I want the truth. Did Hexler Dalton switch the drugs on my clinical trial?
What are you talking about?
Did you substitute a more experimental drug for the one that was approved to be tested? Just answer me, Lee. What are you, frisking me?
Come on, Ken. We're not bad guys. We're in this for the same reasons you are. To save lives and improve people's health.
You can't experiment on kids like they're lab rats.
You know the drill. The FDA makes us jump through hoops for 10, 12, sometimes 15 years. How many patients die waiting because the government won't let us give them a new drug that can help?
It doesn't give you the right to gamble on a kid's life. I've got a 12-year-old boy who's in a coma, Lee.
And that's a tragedy. But you have to look at the big picture. A few people suffering now could prevent thousands from suffering later.
The lady lawyer has evidence. She could blow the whistle.
She's under court order not to release anything.
What if she ignores it?
There's an easy way to prevent that. If you're willing to help.
Hello, Alex here.
This is Ken talking. I was thinking about what you said. I want to help.
Alex? Where are you going?
Meeting.
Hey, you've got Rushkov versus Hexler Dalton.
Uh-huh.
Can't take that out of the office. Alex? Alex, we're under a court order. Excuse me, Mr. Whitney. Are you aware Alex just left with the Hexler Dalton file?
Are you Alex DeMonico?
Yes?
Get out of the car.
What's going on?
Please, ma'am. Put your hands where I can see them.
Oh, come on. That's not mine. This is not even my car.
You have the right to remain silent.
You have the right.
The district attorney's on the line.
Good afternoon, David.
Well, guess who I bumped into over here at the 9th Precinct?
I can't imagine.
DeMonico, busted with a couple of bags of coke.
That's impossible.
Well, cops got a tip that she made it by. Found the stash in the car, Whit.
You sure it was cocaine?
Well, lab's analyzing it as we speak. So, you gonna represent her, or you gonna cut your losses and realize that I'm doing you a favor here?
Oh, I'll be there. But listen, David, Miss DeMonico had some very sensitive files with her, files that she should not have taken. Please, don't let anyone look at them.
Oh, I'm not aware of any files.
files? Well, they contain privileged client information that should never have left this office. It would place us in a very difficult situation if the police were to read them. Please see that that doesn't happen.
Well, I'll certainly do what I can.
Thanks, David. I'm counting on you.
Hi.
You think you guys would know baking soda from cocaine by now. If they don't teach that at the academy, you really should think about taking a cooking class.
Hello, Mr. Monaco.
David.
Where are my files?
Oh, yeah, you know, I'm really sorry, Wade. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to keep them for a little while.
David, I told you that was privileged material. You assured me no one would read it.
I know, but the arresting officer got to it before I could.
That was an improper search, Counselor. You're not going to be able to use that in court.
Plain view, Counselor. The officer saw the incriminating material in plain view after stopping Mr. Monaco. I'm afraid we're going to be filing criminal charges against Heyerdahl. Dalton.
This is an outrage. Don't you think this is an outrage, Mr. Whitney?
I think it's a complete outrage, Mr. Monaco. Ah.
The DA has something that belongs to you.
It's good you got that annoying conflict of interest matter out of the way, because soon you'll be devoting all your time to defending your corporation in criminal court. And since you are the face of Royce Atlantic, I'm sure you'll be named in every charge.
The first thing Yuri said was ice cream.
Have you found a new place yet?
Oh, I see nice one. Yuri could have his own room, but it costs $100 more a month.
Well, I'm sure with your settlement from Heyerdahl Dalton, you'll be able to afford that.
Thank you, Miss Alex. I can never repay you.
It was Mr. Whitney who figured out how to turn the tables on.
Oh, her enthusiasm can be very contagious sometimes. Thank you.
And Mr. Heller here.
I didn't do anything. Thanks.
I came to visit my patient.
Well, I'll be very glad to see you.
I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself.
If you hadn't warned me that they planted drugs in my car, I would have been caught with the real thing. And this way, we got the evidence to the DA without violating a court order.
I should have stopped it sooner.
You stood up to them. That's what counts.
What do you mean you don't want to buy it? What is it, the color?
No, it's nothing like that.
What's the problem?
Well, you know, when they arrested me and then they searched the car, it just didn't really seem like a good deal.
Okay, 10% off. That's my final offer.
Next.